Welcome to the Flow with Your Cycle mini-series where we're going to be going through each phase of the menstrual cycle, talking about energy levels, hormones, self-care and the all-important yoga and meditation that will help you get through all the symptoms you experience in each phase. Knowledge is power. This is the cheat sheet guide to your menstrual cycle that you wish you had when you were a teenager. So let's get into it. Hello, welcome to today's episode. So we are now in the final phase of our menstrual cycle series, the luteal phase. So we've worked through menstruation, follicular, ovulation, and now we're in the final phase that leads up to our period beginning again. So our luteal phase is where we find our PMS phase. So PMS symptoms are very widely known, obviously, and this will fall in the luteal phase. Obviously leading up to, so premenstrual, leading up to your period. So talking about the seasons of the year, PMS or luteal phase is our inner autumn. Now, autumn is my favourite season of the year, and so I try to embrace that in this sometimes challenging phase of the cycle. And so at autumn, things are changing. The leaves are falling, we're more reflective, it's getting darker, we're spending more time inside, we're slowing down, and that is exactly what we do with our energy levels and our lifestyle really during this luteal phase. So let's get into it. I just want to note before we get into the full part of this episode that the luteal phase, what we're talking about today, if you're on a fertility or conception journey, then this is the phase where the 2-week wait will lie. And the 2-week wait, as you already know if you're on this journey, is the hardest, slowest 2-week wait of your life. And I just want you to know that you're not alone, and that this time it can be exciting, but it can also be very anxiety provoking, worrying, disappointing, lots of emotions you're experiencing during this 2-week wait, on top of your hormones changing and you going through your PMS symptoms possibly afterwards or during that time. I do have a 2-week wait survival yoga kit for you. I'll drop the link in the show notes for you to sign up for that. So if you are on a fertility journey, you've got a 2-week wait coming up, or you're currently in one now, then get that resource. It's got yoga, meditation, chanting, some affirmations for you to try, some journaling, different things that you can use during that 2-week wait to really support yourself emotionally, because it is such a challenging time. The luteal phase lasts between 10 to 14 days and it begins straight after ovulation. So ovulation is our shortest phase, and the luteal phase starts straight after ovulation has occurred and leads all the way up to day 1 of your period, so your next cycle. So it'll be about 10 to 14 days long. You won't necessarily experience symptoms that entire time. You may start to experience symptoms about 7 days before your period. But as always, everyone's different. Every cycle is different. Every woman is different. And you will also notice that you'll have fluctuation within your own cycle anyway. But this is just sort of the general average that we're talking about today. So looking at the hormones during this phase, your progesterone hormone peaks. So it's at its highest during the luteal phase. And the reason for this is that progesterone is the hormone that supports a potential pregnancy. So essentially, this phase is preparing your body for a possible pregnancy that's occurred during the ovulation phase. So progesterone is peaking to support that. If pregnancy hasn't occurred, then progesterone will start to decline, and that is what then causes your sort of PMS symptoms. So this drop in hormones, this drop in progesterone, causes the sort of very well-known PMS symptoms, mood changes, bloating, tender breasts, acne, irritability. There are a huge array of symptoms. There's actually been recorded, there's 150 different symptoms that can be experienced by women during this phase, which is just incredible. So these symptoms are physical, emotional, mental. It's a variety, but there can be up to 150 different things that we can experience. Obviously, not all at the same time, but I still find that really fascinating that there can be so many different things that we go through as women during this phase. So this phase simply is your body slowing down. Your body is turning inward. Remember our inner autumn? And this is the time to really nurture and take care of yourself. This is a phase where we can be quite reflective and we can think about maybe how the month has gone, how the other phases of the cycle have gone, but also just in our lives, we can be more reflective and take more time and just slow down. This phase, all these things are going on in your body, these hormone drops, all of these potential symptoms. You know, your body is going to be feeling tired. It's going to be feeling like it's been through a lot, because it has. It's literally just gone through all those phases of the cycle, all those hormone surges and drops, all the symptoms and things you experience. And now the final phase is when you can go, okay, let me just slow down. Let me process this cycle and prepare for the next one. So moving with the moon aspect of this series, the luteal phase is reflective of the waning moon. So this is the lunar phase that goes from the full moon towards the new or dark moon. So the moon is starting to diminish and disappear. We're seeing it less in the sky, less brightness. And that's exactly how we as women feel during our luteal phase. We're more inward. We've had that social bright time of our ovulation. And now we're starting to turn inward, spend more time inside in our inner autumn. And that's really reflective of the lunar phases of the cycle. So that's another interesting sort of link between the lunar and the menstrual cycle for us to consider. Yoga for the luteal phase, for your PMS symptoms, the massive array of symptoms that you may be experiencing. Commonly, we'll be feeling quite tired, maybe quite low in mood and a little bit of discomfort. So we're looking at slow flows, really grounding yoga. Yin yoga is a really beautiful practice during this time. In yin yoga, you stay in static poses for a longer period of time to really get deep into the fascia, really stretching. And they're really grounding practices as well. And they're not building up your cardiovascular system. They're not too strenuous, but you can get really strong benefits, especially if you have aches and pains as well. So yin yoga is a really beautiful practice for this phase of your cycle. Also, any gentle hip openers, forward folds are really good. They're really good at lowering our anxiety. You could do some inversions, which are really good for the nervous system as well. So just any slow flow, grounding, not so many standing poses. Standing poses tend to be energizing, and we want to align with this sort of inward, slow flow energy that we'll be feeling in our yoga practice. So you won't tend to be doing standing poses, be mainly on your mat, close to the ground, and very slow but intentional, so you can stretch out, you can increase your flexibility, but we're just not increasing our heart rate and sort of cultivating energy during our yoga practice in our luteal phase. Some women may not experience many symptoms during this phase. You may not sort of notice until you start bleeding, and that's your sort of main sign that you started your next cycle. So it may be that you don't necessarily notice this sort of dip in energy and you don't match your yoga or your exercise with that, which is absolutely fine. But I would advise, if you don't experience many symptoms, your next cycle, just try to do these practices that we've talked about in each phase of the cycle, even if you don't experience them in the way we've talked about. Still try to match it with what the energy levels that we're talking about and just see what happens, because you may be surprised at the benefits that you get from still aligning with the energy that your body would have, even if you don't experience it that way. So some self-care lifestyle tips that are great during our luteal phase. Long walks in nature. So again, think about autumn. You still maybe want to get outside, just doing a slow, long walk. Baths with candles, just a bit of self-care and nurturing. Also, journaling is a really good practice. I mean, I will talk about journaling all day long for the whole phase of your cycle. But if you haven't started journaling before, this is a really nice phase to do it. It's quite a reflective phase, and it can be a really good way, especially if you're tracking and on a conception journey, a really nice way to reflect on the way the cycle has gone. And if you're in the 2-week wait, journaling is another really powerful tool to help get you through that. So journaling can be a really nice practice during this phase. Also, back to food, as always, nourishing, grounding foods. Again, think of autumn, even if it's not autumn outside, but just those really comforting meals. Maybe your favourite comfort, mac and cheese comes to mind for me. So just comforting, nice meals. Also during this phase, it's a good time to meal prep. So during menstruation, when you have really low energy, you may not feel like cooking or doing much at all. So luteal phase can be really good to get some meal prep done, ready for your menstruation phase, just to support yourself in the next phase of your cycle. And lastly, we're just going to talk about our sort of social energy levels. So in our follicular phase, we are outcome based. So we're wanting to achieve goals, set goals and habits. In our ovulation phase, we are people focused. So we're feeling social and outward and energized in that way. Our luteal phase, we are feeling the most creative. So our creative energy is highest during this phase. So whatever you find your creative spark from, whether that's singing, painting, writing, whatever it is, you will feel most creative during this phase. So again, aligning with that natural creative energy, and you'll get the most out of whatever activity it is that you want to do during this time. So it's just something to bear in mind, to think about the type of energy that you experience in each phase and how you can use that to kind of fuel that feeling and to align with it. Again, rather than working against it, forcing our bodies to do things when our mind's telling it to, let's truly align, work with our body, work with what it's already feeling, and kind of add fuel to the fire of whatever that is. So we're not in conflict with our body, we're loving it, we're nurturing it, and we're working together to do incredible things. Thanks for listening all the way through this episode of the 30 Something Shift podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it and got something valuable from it. Don't forget to subscribe below so that you get the next episode. They'll be dropping weekly, as well as all my yoga and meditation practices. Take care.